So, Adam, here comes Duke. And, man, Duke is also just bludgeoning teams. I sent you, I can't remember what was it, 100-63, I think, is the average score in Duke's last 4 games. Now, here's something funny about that. One of them does include Illinois. So, yes, Miami, Florida State, and Wake are the other ones. Well, that's not that far away from the teams that Carolina's been playing. But that doesn't seem to matter as much for some other teams at the moment. And look, Duke's body of work, obviously, this year is better than Carolina's. I personally, I don't like this, but I think Duke's the best team in the country right now. And if they win on Saturday, they will be ranked number 1 because Auburn lost earlier this week. Adam, this is a really complete team. I mean, Carolina saw it firsthand in Durham. Duke is just crushing teams. Their offense is competing and executing at a higher level than it was when the Tar Heels saw them earlier in the year. Their defense is still really good. They aren't quite as good statistically as they were 6 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago when the Heels saw them. But it's a minimal dip there, especially when you juxtapose it with the incredible step forward they've made offensively. They're shooting the 3 well. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is one of the best players in the country. They have size, and they're confident. And I think this is they still have something to play for, too, because if they lose this game, they could be as low as the 3 seed in the ACC tournament. So they still have tournament seeding to play for. Obviously, it's Duke, Carolina. There's going to be juice there because of that. The Tar Heels, as well as they have been playing and as good as they have looked, they will have to be every bit of that to have a chance to win on Saturday.
It is frustrating that this game has become the referendum on the season, because I don't think the argument we've been making at any point in the show is that this season Carolina is as good as Duke. Duke is a better team than Carolina this year, based on everything we have seen up until today. The argument is Carolina is better than Xavier or better than Oklahoma or better than some of these other teams, which I do believe is true. That doesn't mean I believe that Carolina is better than Duke, but that also doesn't mean I don't believe that for one day Carolina could be better than Duke. Looking back at the first box score between these two teams, that's a deceptive box score. It was, according to the stats, it was only a 17-point game.
It felt much larger than that.
The turnovers in the first half completely decided the game. Duke got out, started running, and did whatever they wanted to do, and then pretty much quit trying in the second half.
The last 10 minutes, Carolina went to that zone, which I do think was semi-effective, but Duke was up by like 28 or something and knew that it could just play out those last 10 minutes.
Right. And so those stats are not as telling as I thought they might, because I was trying to remember, like, what were the decisive things? And you look at them and you're like, oh, Carolina didn't shoot the ball terribly. Duke didn't shoot the ball fantastically. Well, that's because you've got those last 10 or 12 minutes in there where it was very different. The turnovers. You have to hold on to the ball. If you can't hold on to the ball, go sit on the bench, because that is going to enable them to do all the things that they are so good at. You have your best chance if they have to play in the half court. Now, they still might be awesome because they're really good. I think one of the things that was really noticeable in Cameron was how big they are.
Yes.
Well, Carolina's gotten bigger since then against some teams that are not as big as Duke. Carolina's still going to be at a size disadvantage almost across the board. That was tough to overcome at Cameron. How are you going to handle that? Tar Heels got to keep shooting the ball well. Is this a hot streak, or is this who Carolina is with this lineup? It's hard to imagine that they've suddenly – 2 months ago we were sitting here saying this could be the worst three-point shooting team Carolina's ever had. Now they shoot 50% from 3. I would like to believe that the 50% from 3 team is the real team.
Well, I do think they're getting better shots. I do think that's true. Now, they go in more, so maybe I just think they're better. but I feel like there's been fewer of the R.J. Davis has got to go one-on-one with 3 seconds left in the shot clock type of threes. There's still – that happens every now and then, but it doesn't feel like it's happening as frequently. Obviously, Jalen Withers shooting more and well is helpful. He didn't shoot great in this last game, but has been shooting well. I think having a quicker understanding on whether or not you're getting the Ian Jackson that's going to go 7 of 9 from the field and 5 of 6 from 3 for 24 points, or you're going to get the one that's going to go 1 for 8 from the field with several turnovers and being willing to go, all right, we don't have the good one tonight. He's got to play fewer minutes. I think being willing to make that decision faster has helped those numbers. Trimble's been shooting better. Powell has been shooting better. So some of those guys who 1 for 3 is a lot different than 0 for 5 or something from 3 in a game. I think all of that has made these numbers better.
One thing that's made Carolina better is Trimble and Powell have been assets that the opponents Carolina has been playing do not have.
Yeah.
Can they continue to be that against a team that is a level up athletically and will be able to match some of the things they can do? Can they even take it up one notch higher? It's not out of the realm of possibility that they can.
Well, I will say Drake Powell was one of the better players on the floor in that last 10 minutes the first time these two teams played. And again, we're not trying to act like Carolina almost made this valiant comeback, because it didn't. But Drake Powell looked like he belonged in those moments, and I do think that he's going to have an opportunity to have more moments this time.
I think one interesting thing about this game is that everyone, and we'll talk about this later in the show.
Oh.
Everyone keeps bringing up that 22 game at Cameron, as this perhaps could be similar to that. Paolo Banchero told us that Duke was not very focused that week, and if I recall correctly, didn't practice leading up to that game. That's not going to be the case this time. There's no Coach K circus. There's no tunnel of love. There's no K1K quarter zips or whatever the heck it was. They're just coming to play the game. And I do think that played a role in 22. You don't have that this time, I don't think.
Carolina could play really well and still not win.
Yes.
And to Adam's point, and a point we've made several times, I hope, and unfortunately the Tar Heels are in this position where all you can do is hope. Like, if Carolina loses this game by 8 to 12 points, in my opinion, it's not going to be fair to then go, see, I told you they weren't any good. Like, Duke's not a normal barometer this year. They are very, very good. They will be, or should be, the national title favorite, in my opinion. And quite honestly, if they leave this season without a title, they're going to be talking about this year like we talk about 98 or 12, where it was like, that was a team that could have done it. If they don't win it this year, they're going to say those things.
And look, if they come out and do the same thing in the first half that they did in Durham, then I concede the point. Okay, Carolina's winning streak was against bad teams. Maybe they're not any better. I do not expect that to be the case, but that doesn't automatically come with a win. Who knows? Crazy things happen on senior day.